Hey guys, how you doing? Today I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to talk about Destiny. I got to remind myself to slow down sometimes and just, stop and smell the roses, I suppose. I've tried to record this video 2 times, and I end up getting frustrated with myself because I ramble a little bit too much. So I'm just going to go off a mental list, tell you guys about the things that I like in Destiny 2, why I started playing it, and then I'm going to tell you about the things that I don't like. Because there are a few things, for sure, just like, it's like everything. So, to give you guys a brief intro, I played Destiny 2 in 2019 for a whole of 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure I didn't even complete the tutorial mission, maybe I did. I remember going as far as the EDZ on my Warlock, I think it was the EDZ. I go up to the cathedral, some of the veterans know the name of the cathedral, and I talk to a guy sitting up in his sniper. And I remember doing a single quest for him and then getting off. And I never played after that up until 2 months ago. So I played, Warframe for the last 6.5, 7 months. Well, before the last 2. And then in early October, I decided that I wanted to try Destiny 2 for myself instead of listening to all the negative feedback that I've got from everybody, especially in the Warframe. And in the Warframe community, there's a ton of negativity regarding Destiny 2. Like, it's really just like, I don't know what it is, but it's almost like there can't be one without the other. Or it's almost like you can't play one without shitting on the other. And I completely despise that, because they're 2 different games. They serve 2 completely different purposes. Like, in my mind, Destiny 2 is more akin to a classic MMORPG. Sure, it's like Halo in that had a baby. But then Warframe isn't your classic MMO. It's really not. I would say it's more like a third-person shooter ARPG. It's Diablo third-person alien shit, right? That's really what it is. And it's really damn good. It's why I have 750 hours in it. Now, again, I started Destiny 2 about 2 months ago. I now have about 340 hours. And I've loved it. I've loved 95% of it. Nope. 85% of it, because I have to count Lightfall and Shadowkeep. The moon is beautiful, but Lightfall is, well, I think we all know about Nimbus. But anyway, I just want to give you guys a quick list here. So I'm going to run through my cons. Sunset content, you guys already know, it's pretty rough. It's honestly pretty f***ing terrible. The fact that I feel like we did get a couple of in-game videos, I think. It's like the, what is it, like the black and white ink painting videos that kind of give you like a rundown of what happened in the previous expansions and seasons. I don't think it's enough. Nowhere near enough. Honestly, I think you get more valuable information from watching somebody like My Name is Bife, or maybe somebody's recap. I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of content on YouTube regarding, for the game that I'm playing. I don't like to. It kind of ruins it for me a lot of the time. But yeah, it was frustrating. It kind of felt like I was just dropped in the middle of a mediocre TV show, but the side content was amazing. Some of the seasons were really good, but the one that I'm forced to start with is complete ass. I don't know what show that is, but I'm going to call it Destiny 2. Shadowkeep was terrible. It's rough. You get pulled into a lot of different directions. There are almost, in my opinion, too many activities available in the game to a brand new player. Because there's no legend, right? There's no legend. You go into the game, you have the New Light quest line. You have a bunch of different tabs. I guess I could pull it up here. I don't know. I'll go in. But there are just too many things going on all at once, and it feels incredibly confusing for a brain. So you have your normal quest, you have your New Light, you have the final shape, you have episode, you have playlist, you have exotics, and then you have the past. And it's a little confusing, it makes a lot of sense now, but right off the rip, you get a quest in almost every single one of these tabs. And maybe it's different for me because technically I'm a returning player, which is also something that made it incredibly confusing. So again, I played for a little bit 5 years ago, and because of that, when I came back to the game, I wasn't technically a new player, even though I really should have been. I was under an hour of playtime. So I came in and I'm account rank 5, and I've done all the little things that would have otherwise guided a brand new player, right? So like you have your journey, Where is it? You have your journey as a player. You have your veteran rank. I wasn't 1, 2, 3, or 4. I was all the way up here at 5, and I just did my 5 to 6 the other day, probably about a week ago. And it was pretty cool. But this was incredibly confusing, because I went through and I had to go back and read these. And the thing is, like, reading this isn't really enough, because it's not like the full thing. So, I almost feel like Destiny 2 is more confusing for a returning player if that returning player hadn't really played for a long time, right? And I don't mean to just jump right into the negativity here, and I'm sorry for that. And the reason I have is because there are a lot of good things in there. And I'll get to that in just a moment. And I know, again, I'm rambling. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about were the cash store pop-ups. Now, I own everything now because I was actually gifted this by a buddy of mine. I'm going to open this. Oh, that's nice. Anyway, so I was gifted a few things from a buddy of mine, and I got all the content. Now, this was, one, incredibly confusing because the Steam page has like 12 different options. It's all incredibly expensive. Some things you can only buy, like dungeon keys, you can't buy elsewhere. I'm pretty sure you have to get them with silver. The expansion packs you can get elsewhere with a key code. It's a weird thing, and it's strange. But Destiny 2 does this thing that Warframe does. And it's where, like, as a new player, you're going through and you get all these quests, and you're doing all these things, and you got pop-ups everywhere. It's like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then you go to click one of them, and 1 out of the 4 things that you're going to do are going to open up the shop and ask you to buy something. And Warframe does this as well. If anyone says it doesn't, they're lying. It does. It wants you to buy platinum, and it doesn't tell you at all that you can earn it via trading. So that's incredibly frustrating, and Destiny 2 does the same thing, except, 1, there is no in-game currency that's tradable. So you do have to make all of these purchases cash, right? Or gift cards, or whatever. So it's just really confusing, and I think what it really does is it takes an amazing product, which is Destiny 2, and it really holds it back. It really does, and it really frustrates me, because I feel like a lot of the shit this game gets is 100% well-deserved in the first 50 hours. In the first 40 hours, whatever it is, however long it takes you to get through Shadowkeep, do the New Light shit, and then you finally get to the point where the game has convinced you to buy the DLC, and to buy all these extra. You know, because it just doesn't want to sell you on it. It wants you to buy it, but it doesn't want to sell you on it. It's almost just putting it there and saying, you better get this, or else you're missing out on a thing that other people are doing. And it's really unfortunate, because I think what it does is it increases the resistance to action, which is buy the game and actually play the game and commit to the game. So yeah, that's probably my biggest problem there. I think there are a few more confusing things. Like, I don't want to nitpick, but if I am going to nitpick, probably my biggest pet peeve in this game is broken waymarks or waypointers, which Warframe has too. And then the map. Like, when you open up the map in this game, it didn't do it here, but let's say you open up and you're on Europa. You could be standing up here, and your map is going to be open up here, and the only way to move it is, like, move your cursor. And it's fucking slow. It's so slow, man. It's not a big deal, but I think after now that I have a few hundred hours in the game, it's getting to be a pretty major pet peeve. It's just one of those things that grinds your fucking gears, and it's gonna happen. Like, once it happens so many times, you're just getting fed up with it, and then you kind of like dread opening your map. Like, I would rather just run around aimlessly trying to follow a broken marker than open my map sometimes. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm an idiot. That's just me. Now, that's enough of the complaints, right? I've probably been complaining for, what is it, like 10 minutes now? I want to talk about the good shit. Because there's a lot of good shit. In fact, there is so much good shit that I'm still playing the game. And then I wanted to make this video. I wouldn't talk about it if I didn't like the game. Because for me, if it's bad, I'll complain about it and then I'll move on. But I really wanted to talk about it. In first thing is first. And everyone knows this is the most important thing in the game. Gameplay. Gunplay and ability usage in Destiny 2, I would give it an easy 10 out of 10. I would say it is some of the best, if not the best, gameplay in an MMO. Black Desert Online is pretty fucking good. It's pretty good. But I'm 27 now, and I feel like every day I can't keep up with the actions per minute required to play that game. So this is a nice medium. You know, it's not too easy. Sometimes it is, depending on the build. It's not too hard, depending on the build. But across the board, I think the gunplay is smooth. It's buttery. There's fucking feedback. You hit something, you know you hit it. Like, everything in the game screams at you. You hit that guy. That orange health bar, or yellows apparently, whatever. The orange health bar enemy you just chunked. You chunked his ass. The health bar immediately reacts. You feel it. Oh my god, dude. You throw an ability. You throw like, oh my god, you throw like, what is it? The Void Grenade, because I've been using Void Titan. You throw a Void Grenade on the ground, and it just sucks all the enemies in. They get crushed, and then you see purple powder go everywhere. Beautiful, dude. It feels so damn good. And then you pair that with like Graviton Lance. This is a build chat gave me, and I know my stats aren't the best. And I'm terrible at this game, but I absolutely love it, and I'm going to keep playing it. And it's because the gameplay is just so crisp. It's so clean. And it's refreshing. I felt like in Warframe, I absolutely love the gameplay. It's clean as well. There's plenty of feedback. I know it's a little floaty in comparison, but you got to remember, if you compare the same thing, like if you compare Destiny 2 to Warframe, one of them is going to seem better than the other in a few different ways. But it's not always necessary. Like, they're meant to feel different because they have different purposes, you know? You want to run around and kill thousands of enemies. In Destiny, you want to kill a few hundred, sure. You want to do whatever you're going to do. But ultimately, your goal is to kill a fucking boss, man. And that's another thing, man. The bosses, the difficulty, just in the encounters. Like, I did Duality last night. And I'm going to finish it today on stream. And I think I just figured out what I need to do. I've been doing most content in the game blind. I would say like 99% of it has been blind for me, and it's been great. I try not to look at chat, even I hide it with Discord, and it's been beautiful. And just like that crisp moment, man, of just discovering in having the epiphany of like, what do I need to do in this boss fight to be able to fucking kill it, right? Like, because it all like everything you do is for the same end goal in Destiny 2. You do the mechanic, you do the thing, you grind your ass off. Why? So you can kill a boss. And I love it, dude. I love it so much. I didn't even know that I missed it. Because I used to play Rift when I was a kid. I played a little bit of WoW when I was a kid. I played Guild Wars 2 a few years ago. I missed it. I missed being able to kill bosses, complete content. I looked over for chat, but recording. But, dude, it's so good. Like, I just want to gush over it all the time. And it pisses me off sometimes. But it's, like, overall, I think the gameplay, man, it's an easy 10 out of 10. It's good. Another thing I want to say is the grind. Just like I said a minute ago, like, the grind in Warframe got really old for me after, 750 hours. But it got really old for me. It's because, like, what am I grinding for, man? I'm grinding for variety. There are no raids. Apparently there were. I didn't play during that. But there are no raids. There is no endgame content. There's some challenging shit. You know, there's EDA, there's Archon hunts, there's, you know, level cap. But you're really just grinding for variety. And I know Destiny 2 has that a little bit too, but at the end of the day, you're really grinding to optimize your loadout to fit the activity that you plan on pursuing and beating eventually, right? And I haven't done raids yet, but I am so excited, man, because I know that the last 340 hours, and by then it's probably going to be like 400 because I'll be raiding in a week or two, is going to be so worth it, and it's going to make it all feel like it's all coming together. It's all culminating in this one thing that we are meant to do in Destiny, and that will kill a big-ass boss, right? And I'm just so excited for it, man. But anyway, on to the next thing. Lore and story. I've been watching, and I haven't over the last month or so, for spoilers, but I've been chipping away at My Name is Bife's 10-hour video on stream. And it's been amazing. One, because of that sultry voice. that I'm sure we all love, man. I'm telling you, if that was a drink, I would. Anyway, it's just, it's so deep and so rich. And something that Destiny does pretty freaking well is tell you a decent story. Now, they're not Lightfall. The Lightfall? Lightfall's ass, for the most part. Neo Moon is beautiful. But the characters or whatever, Osiris is whiny. Yeah, you guys already know. Shadowkeep is a big fetch quest. The armor that you get from it is probably the ugliest armor I've seen in the game yet. But the moon is cool. Yeah, that's about it. But Shadowkeep, the final shape, Beyond Light even is pretty good. I'd say Beyond Light is like a 3. I would say the final shape is a 2. And I would say Witch Queen is at the top. And I know a lot of people might switch the top 2 around. You guys got to remember that I don't have any context. I wasn't here in the beginning. I didn't play the Sunset content. You know, I got dropped into the middle of the season. Right, the show. I watched Cade 6, which, for me, I am not attached to. I watched him die, and he talks shit like a Marvel character. He was incredibly unfunny. He's better in the final shape, but he's a pain in the ass, and he's not funny to me most of the time. You know, helmet stayed on, whatever. But Witch Queen, man, I feel like you could take Witch Queen, you could section it off, and just have it as like its own little thing, its own little neat package for a brand new player, and it would be perfect. You get invested in that single story, that isolated story in a vacuum. Sure, you'd miss some things, but overall, it's its own unique package. It's sellable on its own. It is fucking good, clean. When it ends, it ends. Not to mention the cutscene at the end is absolutely a beautiful fucking piece of art. The way the face moves, it's good. It's really good. The final shape is really interesting, but the final shape for me is almost like watching Infinity War in Endgame without watching the first 3 Iron Man movies and Captain America. Right? Like, that's the way that I would equivalent it. It's good, but you just don't completely understand it or appreciate it. Which is why it's number 2. Still beautiful story. Now, one more thing. There's 2 more things, but the one I want to get into is fashion. I discovered a cowboy hat from, I think it's Spire of the Watcher dungeon. And I went through and I got it all in like 2-3 runs. I got all the armor I needed, all the cosmetics, because, you know, transmogging is definitely the end game. I think that's agreed upon, and I think Destiny, just like Warframe, is some of the best fashion in the industry, in my opinion. I know it's an acquired taste over on the Warframe side, and less so on Destiny, but I think Destiny's is obviously fucking good. It looks incredible. I don't know what else to say. Like, you have so many options, man. You can change every single armor piece. You can change the shader of every single armor piece individually. You know, shaders interact differently based on material. Some shaders change material. Like, it's really cool, man, and it looks good. I know mine isn't the best here, but I like it because I'm throwing and I'm using a big purple shield, so it works for me. The last thing I really want to get into, though, is the community. The community is the majority really positive, and I think the community really yearns for people who just like to play the fucking game. I think they're really tired of hearing people's negative opinions, and I know I spent the first half of the video complaining and nitpicking a little bit, but I'm doing that in the spirit of fairness. Dude, like, people just need to play Destiny. And just stop like shitting on it, dude. I think it's so good. And I know it's had its problems. But can we just move forward, man? Like, why are we playing the game and then complaining about it? Like, I played Ark Survival Evolved for 4,000 hours. I get it. I completely get it. You play the game, things happen, you get tired of it. Developers make a shitty decision, meshing, in Ark's case, sunsetting in Destiny. And you hate it all of a sudden, and I really think it's because you feel as though your time has not been respected, and you as a player have not been respected, right? And I can appreciate that. But I think we're at a point where you're either complaining too much now, and I think it's just time to move on, right? This shit happened a while ago. There was enough drama. People have got enough views on YouTube over it. Can we just move on? Can we just, like, stop doing the thing that was really popular a few months ago, a year ago, whatever it was, and just play the fucking game and enjoy it? And I think the community would really appreciate it. Now, on the other end of it, I get people all the time, probably once per stream, who come in and tell me that Destiny. I had a guy come in and he goes, Destiny 2 is shit. It's the worst game out there. I wish it was never made. And you know what I asked him? I said, okay, I'm going to take a wild guess. You have A, never played it, and you have B, you have 2,000 hours minimum. And I asked him, and he said he had like, what was it, like 2.5 or 3. And that's because we all know, like, it's either people played it too much, or played it, maybe not too much, but played it a lot, and now they're mad about it because they can't get their time back, and now they're super tribal on it, and they just want to hate the fucking game because it's cool and it's something to get upset about. It's fucking borderline political at this point. I swear to God. And I get it. But just move on. Like, it's time to move on, dude. I'm tired of it. I can't stand it. They're weenies, man. You come into my chat, or anybody's chat, or the YouTube comments, and you tell me how bad Destiny 2 is. Just move on. Like, dude, get out of here. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? You're complaining into an open void for likes, or for views, or whatever it is. Like, just play the game, right? It's dumb. But anyway, the community's been beautiful. Outside of the few individuals who have been certified fucking weenie material, everybody has been incredible. They've been great. Not to mention, ridiculously generous and supportive. And I'm only saying that because I want to say thank you to those people. But aside from that, many people just want to help, dude. They just want to, like... The amount of people I've met who want to, like, Sherpa me through a raid without even spoiling it. Like, yeah, sure, there's some people who want to carry, but there are plenty of people, man, that just want to take me through it so I can experience the best that Destiny has to offer, right? And I think the reason they want to do that is because I think the community is a little afraid that a new player comes in and they don't make it to the best part of Destiny, which might be raiding. I haven't done it yet. Dungeons are sick. Exotic missions are badass. They're awesome, dude. Presage was awesome. I'm going to beat Duality today. But the community is right there with the game. They believe in the game wholeheartedly. It is just... It would bring a tear to my eye. It would. It's good. I'm excited to play the game. And I'm going to be honest, guys. That's probably all I had to say. So thanks for listening to the rant. And, yeah. I don't know when I'm going to record. I don't like doing it. But nice talking to you guys. I'm going to go stream now. Thanks. Watch. Bye.